Welcome to the last slot of the tech conference of NFQ Asia. I promise I will try my very best to keep you entertained a bit, and then maybe later starts dinner and the pool party. So, my name is Thomas. My friends call me Lola, but that's a story for a different time. Usually on conferences, I talk about how to improve the performance of your web application. But not today. Today, I want to talk about you how sudden market shifts, or maybe we call them disruptions, can impact your business model and what you can do to adopt your business model to, in the best case, come even out stronger out of a disruption. So why am I talking about this? And there's two reasons for this. First, the organizers didn't want to put me on a technology stage. They did not really explain why, but I guess the reasoning is something like, you know what, it's 2024 and everyone already knows that performance is key in web application. And we have so cool speakers here that are talking about AI and other relevant stuff, and no one wants to hear your grandpa stories about performance. So the other reason why I want to speak about this is some people call me a successful entrepreneur. And honestly, I don't really like being called that. But nevertheless, up to a certain degree, this is true. I am running a successful company. But what at the same time is also true is I am fucked. Because in the industry I work in, there is a really crucial shift of markets happening. And if I don't change the business model of my company, the company will go out of business. So what I want to do today is to share with you my views of the disruption that is currently happening in our industry, and what, with an example of my company and also a bit other examples, how we can cope with that. And it's absolutely important to me to share this with you, because the way I tick is, if I see something that is not only affecting me, but also others, then I want to share this, even if this means sharing this with my competitors, because I strongly believe that together we can come out stronger out of a troubling situation. And also, imagining 1 year in the future, if I would think of, I saw something coming there, and I did not share this with you, then in my definition, I would have failed you as a conference speaker. Because the conference is exactly the place where you go to get new inspirations and new ideas. And I would fail you if I would not share what I think is coming. But this does not necessarily mean that it's going to be as drastic as I think, because it's just my point of view. So bear with me, and I will try to explain what I mean by that. To be able to explain that, I want to give you some context about the company I'm working in and what's happening there. So ScaleCommerce basically is a hosting company specializing only in e-commerce sites. So customers pay us a fee, and we run the hardware and the server, and we run their online shop. We are focused on PHP-based online shops. It's these 4 vendors, mainly Shopware, Spryker, Oxid, and Magento. And currently, our customers are well-known brands in the German market, going from football clubs to home accessories, fashion, stuff like that. Everyone who sort of has special needs for traffic, like starting TV campaigns or something like that. And in the German market, we have the reputation that if you go to ScaleCommerce, we can help you reduce the page load time of your online shop, which everyone knows that will bring more revenue. So we have also the reputation sort of that if your website is slow and no one else knows what to do, you can call ScaleCommerce and they're going to be able to fix this. That's the situation. Also, what's the situation is we have recurring revenue. Let me quickly remind how this looks. So recurring revenue means that every new customer we acquire will pay every month to come, on top of every already existing customer still paying every month to come. And this looks like this and like this. Pretty cool, huh? So you might think this is the perfect time to start buying boats and cars. But not so fast, my friends. Because remember, these guys, they also think that recurring revenue for them would be a cool idea, so they can buy boats and cars. So what happens is that these software vendors are trying to build and implement and push their own cloud solutions so that you as a customer using their software would not like try to find your own solution for hosting this, but you use the original cloud from the vendor. And basically the proposition is something like this. If we are the vendor, who else can know our software better than we? So actually our cloud has to be better than everyone else's. And what's also happening here is that these companies in the past were our partners. So they would approach us and they will say like, you do a good job in the hosting business, we do a good job in building a great software. So if we partner up, then our customers will be happy. So far, so good. Then they also had the idea of having the partners sign a partner contract, which basically says that for each customer using one of these softwares, as a partner, you would pay a commission on the revenue you make with this customer. Luckily, I was never stupid enough to sign that. But I know people who did. And now the reality is that who has former been our partners have decided to be our competitors. This means that at some point, the business of hosting a single online e-commerce shop for one of these vendors will not be existing anymore. I cannot tell you if it's gonna take like 1 year or 10 years, but for sure I know that the business model that my company right now is in is going to disappear. So what do we do when we miss the window of selling the company and also miss the window of buying the boats and the cars? As of today, there's no problem at all, because it turns out that running a cloud environment for a specific software is absolutely not the same as building the software. You build the software, but you don't know about all the problems that your customers are facing running the software, especially on a high scale level. So as of today, ScaleCommerce has an advantage in experience and in knowledge. And what we see right now is that basically customers are sticking to our product or to our services, to be precise, instead of switching to the original vendor solutions, because turns out, as of right now, our solution is better. And this is exactly one of the traps that I walked in that brought me into the situation where I am today. Because having a business model that is based on being better than the others works so well, but only short term. And this is so tricky because being better than the others makes you proud and makes you successful. And these are not, in the long term, necessarily good things, because being proud makes you think that the way you did stuff is the right way and it's going to be the same way forever. But that's not true. And being successful makes you lazy because you are already successful. Why change a running system? Why change a business model that is successful? So you stick to the business model, and then at some day you wake up and you find out that your business model is not existing anymore. So while this is true and really, really good for short term, for long term this means you have to be smarter than your competitors. And a good example for this is actually Apple. Who of you remembers this? Wow. So many old people in the room. I guess now I know the real reason why they put me on the business stage. So I can be with my pals and not with the young folks on the technology stage. Okay, so what's my motivation of being an entrepreneur? And honestly, this may seem to not be the perfect for the talk that I want to give, but please bear with me a minute and then I hope you will understand. Because I think there are two motivations of being an entrepreneur. Basically, one will be money. I want to start a business because I want to be rich. And the other is purpose. I want to start a business because I want to do something that is meaningful. Maybe not to the world, but meaningful to me. Something that creates impact. Maybe not for the world, but for a small group of people that I appreciate or that appreciates me. So I want to give you an example of my career, how I sort of decided which of these motivations would be a better fit for me. So when I was 16 years old, I wanted a new bike. And I did the same that every kid where I come from would do when they want a new bike. I went to my parents and I said, Mom, Dad, I want a new bike. And then they said, well, go ahead and buy one. And then I said, but I don't have any money. And then they said, neither do we. And at some point, my mom suggested to me, why don't you get a job? And if you make money, you can save the money, and then you can buy the bike. Because honestly, we cannot afford. We don't have money lying around for you to buy a new bike. Especially not the sort of bike that a 16-year-old wants to buy to impress the girls, right? So what I did was I went to the supermarket and I said, hi, my name is Thomas. I want to speak to the manager. Then the manager came and said, what do you want? And I said, I want a bike. And they said, we don't sell bikes. And I said, I may have gotten ahead of myself. I want to ask if you have a job for me so I can make some money. And he was like, okay, you can start here for a ridiculously small amount of hourly rate. But anyways, I had no other idea, so I did what I had to do. I started at the supermarket. I worked, I saved all the money, and I bought a bike. So at this point in time, I realized what the concept of work and motivation and a goal is. My goal was the new bike. And I knew the only way, because the money wasn't lying around at home, the only way to get this goal is via money, so I can exchange the money to a bike, and the only way to get the money was work. And it worked out. I bought a new bike. On the next day, it got stolen. So now I learned the second important lesson of my career. And this is, the universe is cruel, and it's gonna try to screw you over any chance it gets. So at this point, the concept of putting in work to make money to sort of make my dream come true, and then all of that suddenly being taken away, and all of the effort was for nothing. This crushed me so much that this was the first and last time in all of my life that I did anything for money. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I don't need money, obviously I do, but from this point on, I have never ever chosen a job or a gig by the amount of money I would get, but only by if what I need to do or what I'm offered to do would be cool for me, and if I would like to do that. And if I like to do that, then the money is a result, but the money is not the goal. I hope you understand what I mean. Okay, so the next gig was, first of all, I got a new haircut and a tie. And I'm not sure what the correct English term is, but in Germany, if you don't go to the army, but instead do the social stuff for a year, you know what I mean, hopefully? Okay, so this was my gig doing that. And basically, this was a project financed by the German government to help seniors, older people, learn how to use the internet. And since I wasn't a teacher at all, my job was not to teach them how to use the internet. This was 1999, by the way. So my job was to set up these gorgeous iMacs. I was the tech support for iMacs. I would go in the room, set them up, then sit back in the room and wait for one of these iMacs to break so I can go there and try to reboot them and fix them so the course can go on. Since iMacs in 1999 didn't break, and there was no internet on the iPhone, and no podcasts, and no MP3 players, and no Netflix, this was the most boring job of my life. So I had no other chance but sit in the back and listen what the actual teachers in the front are telling or trying to talk to tell to the people. And they were like, and remember, these are seniors. They have never used a computer before, and the goal was to make them comfortable using the internet because it's 1999. So there would be a guy from Deutsche Telekom or something, and he would go on stage and say, yeah, so the internet consists of computers and routers and their IP addresses, and the web address translates to an IP address, and then a server responds to an IP address, and there you go, there's the website. So what do you think the seniors, the elderly people, thought when they were leaving this course of roughly 90 minutes? Anyone? Not only question mark, they walked past by me and I heard them say, the internet is exactly as complicated as I thought, and this is nothing for me. And then, doing this couple of weeks, I went to the organizers and I said, guys, this is not what we are here for. Not a single attendee of what we do here gets the goal of why we do this. And then I said, next week, please let me do one of these courses, and if I fuck up, I swear to you, I will never ever raise my voice again. I will just sit in the back and keep my mouth shut. But if it works better, then we need to fire these assholes because they are lazy bastards. So next week, I went on stage, and from all the weeks before, I wrote down what the guy in the front said and what happened to the people. So I went on stage and I said, welcome to the internet course. Today what we're going to do is we're going to find out how to go by train from wherever we are this week to, let's say, Berlin. And I want to know how much the ticket will cost with the train, on which platform we start, on which platform we arrive, how the weather is, so we can tell the people who are gonna get us from the train station if they need an umbrella or not. Who of you wants to do this here? And everyone was like. So then I said, imagine if the address of a website would always be www, then something in the middle, and then .de for Germany. What do you think could be the name of the address for Deutsche Bahn? And someone said, Deutsche Bahn, okay, let's try. Oh, there's a website. And then I said, do you see something where we can put in that we want to go from here to somewhere else? And then there's this go from here. You get what I mean, right? So after this, what do you think? What did they think when they left the room after 90 minutes? They said, I'm not sure if I understood everything, but what I saw is real value, and it seems not to be that complicated. Next week, I'm gonna try again. Maybe I understand a bit more. This was exactly what we wanted to do. So this job, in the first time of my life, gave me purpose. The purpose of helping people using the internet. And it didn't matter if it was paid like well or not. Okay, so now you heard about why I'm talking about this. So why do you need to hear this? And the thing is that industries are changing, and there's nothing you can do about this. And if you can't do anything about the industry changing, the only thing you can do is that you change or your company changes. So let me give you an example of the industry that I work in, and that is e-commerce. E-commerce has shifted twice in the past 2 decades, and it's right now in the middle of shifting a third time, and I can also give you my prediction of what the 4th shift will be. So this is 2001. I was hired to do the online shop for the biggest Apple retailer in Germany called Gravis. So e-commerce in 2001, Amazon was only selling books. There was no SEO or SEA. When an order came in, this meant we got an email, and then we had to copy-paste from the email to the logistics software so that we can ship out. If someone ticked the box they want to pay by credit card, we wrote them an email back and asked them for a copy of their credit card and of their passport. Because we needed to make sure that it's real, right? And guess what? They sent this. And we just put photocopies and put it in a folder. Not even sure if we were allowed to, but that's what we did anyways. So what do you think? Did it work? Felt a bit like this. E-commerce was at such an early stage that it absolutely did not matter. Absolutely did not matter what you do. Everything you did was right. So it felt a bit like that. But the problem is, or the question is, how long did it last? Because very quickly, like after maybe 5 years or so, the Amazon decided that they don't only sell books, but also other stuff. And then the market, the e-commerce market, or the e-commerce industry quickly switched into the big ones eat the small ones. This was the first shift in the industry I work in. The second shift that happened in this industry is, remember these guys? Every time something like this happens in every industry in the world, regardless where, at some point in time, there will be at least one smart guy asking themselves a very important question. Who's going to be more successful? The people searching for gold or the people renting out the shovels and the sieves? And this was the dawn of the service provider industry in e-commerce. Today, it's 2024, and online shops have to pay for literally everything. So today, e-commerce look like this. There's a whole industry trying to make money out of the shops. This was the second shift in e-commerce. The third shift, not really part of this talk, but anyways, this is also the reason why we barely don't see any new online shops coming around. The only thing that is still working today is direct to consumer, D2C. This we see like skyrocketing, but we barely see new online shops emerging. And my prediction of the future would be that today, humans are buying in online shops. And all of the online shop and the front end is optimized for being used by humans, like nice design, easy to use, search for stuff. But in the future, humans will not be anymore the clients of the online shop. Machines will be. So you will gonna ask some sort of digital personal assistant to buy you a pair of new shoes. And then this machine will contact all of different online stores and place an order for you in your name and buy the shoes for you. So the next shift in the industry will be that the customers using the online shop, the e-commerce website, will not be humans anymore, but machines. So is this the only industry that is changing so often and so fast, or is there maybe a pattern in the world? So let's go back a couple of years. 1280, the reading glasses got invented. And for roughly 600 years, the only thing that changed was that the glasses got thinner, and at some point there was some design added to that. But the basic concept stayed the same and did not change for roughly 600 years. Then, 1940, German fella comes around and invents the contact lenses, totally disrupting the industry with the mind-blowing new concept no one before thought would be possible to put something in your eye. How stupid can you be? So, 1888, this got invented. If you don't know what that is, don't mind, it's dead anyways. So 100 years later, the CD got invented. And this is a very, very good example, because not only that it took 100 years, but in the exact same year the CD got invented, this also German fellow, together with the Fraunhofer Institute, invented the MP3 format, which eventually would be the death of all sound recording media in the world, invented in the same year as the CD was invented. Motorola marketed the first GSM mobile phone in 1992, and 2007 Apple came up with the idea of the iPhone. Again, Apple did not invent the phone. What they did is they disrupted the whole industry of mobile phones with a totally new concept. And the pattern I want you to see here is that the amount of time from beginning of an industry until the disruption of this industry is getting smaller. So our parents used to book their vacation in travel agencies. We don't even know what travel agencies are, because Booking.com came around and basically made travel agencies obsolete. And then Airbnb came around and disrupted the whole hotel industry. And this is not why I'm talking to you today. But this is. Who of you does not know what ChatGPT is? No one. ChatGPT until today has disrupted not only one, but multiple industries. ChatGPT has disrupted the content creation industry. It has totally disrupted the translation industry. As we learned from Frank, it is in the midst of disrupting the marketing and sales industry. It disrupted the web design industry, and it disrupted the illustration industry. And ChatGPT today is only, and by the way, it is right now in the midst of disrupting the development industry, which we are all part of, especially as guests of NFQ. And ChatGPT is only 13 months old. So imagine what happens when this bastard gets even more knowledge and more experience. And this thing is learning faster than me, and then you, and then every one of us combined. So this is going to be a huge disruption in the industry. And not only for my company, also, for example, for our hosts, NFQ. So the business model of sort of creating development teams or renting development teams to customers 3 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago, was very, very easy, because worldwide there was a shortage of developers, and NFQ solved that problem with a really flexible way of scaling up or down development teams. But then came COVID, and then came AI or ChatGPT, which is currently sort of disrupting the development industry. So what can NFQ do to come out stronger, to adopt their business model? They have to adopt their business model. And one idea they had is in the opening, they announced that they acquired Ecom Consulting, the company of Oliver Lucas, to be able to also consult on e-commerce. So move slowly, expand on not only developing, but also consulting services. And I'm 100% sure that this was not the only idea that NFQ has up their sleeves. And we will see in the next, I guess, couple of months, not couple of years, which ideas they still have. So the idea here is that every industry will get disrupted at some point, and the pace of market changes will get faster. What has been decades in the past will become years as of now. So the times where your business model could stay the same for 5, 10, 15 years is over, my friends. This does not mean that you have to invent a new business model every 12 months, but this means that you have to constantly validate your business model and adapt to the market changes and to the disruption that is happening, and the disruption is going to happen faster and faster and faster. So the question would be, what can you do about that? And my answer is, how the fuck should I know? Because I don't know what you do, and I don't know your industry. I can tell you as an example what we do facing exactly this challenge. So currently, these online shops are our customers. At some point, this business model will not be there anymore. But reflecting that from the experience and knowledge perspective that my team has, every SaaS provider would benefit from this knowledge and from this experience. So basically, what we are trying to do is shift the business model of ScaleCommerce from hosting this single instance of a shop system to maybe be the service provider for the vendor, right? And for us, especially with the background of being specialists in performance optimization, this absolutely makes sense, because today we find the same performance bottleneck in each and every instance of the same vendor's software, and we have to fix this with each and every customer of this vendor. If we would fix this together with the vendor, then all of the instances at the same time would get an improvement. So for us, absolutely makes sense. And the current status of this is that we already have signed. It's not one of the 4, so no rumors here, okay? So we have already signed one customer who is doing a SaaS software, and we will be the service provider for that. And we are in talks with the second one. Also not one of these 4, so still no rumors here. And the problem with this is, so first of all, it sounds like quite good, no? So I saved everything, let's buy the boats and the cars. But the problem is that the sales process of convincing a manufacturer to be the service provider for all of their customers is ridiculously more complicated than convincing a single customer. So this will take forever. So this is not the only strategy that we have. The second strategy that we have is that one of our software features, we launched this as a product. So as I mentioned, we are in the business of performance improvement. So the product that we launched basically is like a smart caching system and helps you improve the page load time of your online shop. And this software is developed by our NFQ team in Vietnam. They are sitting here in this row. You can talk to them. Not about how the software works, though. So what I want to tell you is, if you want to stand out, you need to continuously challenge the status quo. And by challenging the status quo, I do not mean to check your Excel sheet if you're still making profit. By challenging the status quo, I mean asking yourself, are you doing what you're doing because it's the best and right way to do that, or because the way you're doing is working, or because you did it all the time like that? Challenging the status quo means challenging what you do and why you do that, and ideally come up with a solution that no one else had thought of before. That would be disrupting an industry. So if you want a more broad example, the other advice would be solve the customer's problem, and the product will follow. Do not try to invent a product that no one's going to buy. Try to solve the customer's problem, and the product will follow. I want to quickly share one other career path or step of mine. I worked with MacNews.de. MacNews at this time was roughly 2005, was the biggest news portal in the German market for Apple News. And at that time, Steve Jobs was still around, and the way Apple announced new products was that they held a convention in San Francisco, and there was no live stream. You had to go there to find out what's new. So every news outlet would send someone there, sitting in the audience with their laptop on the knees and quickly typing what someone on the stage is explaining. And the rest of the world would constantly reload the website and see what was announced 5 minutes ago or in this minutes. So this meant that we would have like 1 million page impressions in 15 minutes. And in 2005, our website was based on WordPress, and no WordPress installation in the world was able to handle 1 million page impressions in 15 minutes. So we needed to come up with some caching solution, and I don't want to bore you with that, but basically what happened in all of this industry was, at these events, you would shut down the website, and you would come up with the new site that was like very plain design, not the CMS, but static HTML, only with text, and we would upload this every minute, and we would insert a JavaScript to reload every minute. So only static HTML was able to handle this sort of load. No CMS was able to. And then when we came up with the caching, the first full page caching plugin for WordPress, we didn't have to shut down the CMS. We kept the site running. And then the next day, we got some calls from our competitors, and they were like, "What the hell, guys? We saw that you didn't switch the site yesterday. How did you do that?" And we explained to them we built a caching mechanism, and they said, like, "Can you do this for us also? Because we have no idea how to do that." And then we said, "Yeah, well, okay, we have the servers. Why not also put your CMS on there?" And what happened is that we got the first hosting customer. Then at some point, there came the next and the next and the next. And literally one morning, we came to the office, and there were like 2 people in the corner writing blog posts and news articles, and like 8 or 10 people doing the infrastructure and the server stuff and the hosting stuff. And then we thought, wait a minute, maybe being a online portal for news is not what we do best. Maybe providing the infrastructure for news portals is what we are really good at. And then we founded the company SysEleven. SysEleven My previous company got sold 2022, and the only downside about that is that at that point I was only a minority shareholder. So these are the examples of what you can do. If this is not like you don't know if you can use that or not, I also thought about some examples what not to do. So instead of competing for the best piece of pie with all your competitors, try to come up with the solution to make the pie bigger. So in other words, don't be this guy, try to be this guy. And at this point, some of you may say, well, Lola, this is not going to happen to me because my company is data-driven. And don't get me wrong, being data-driven is not bad, it's actually good. But imagine if everyone in the same industry gathers all the data they can, there's a high chance that everyone will end up with more or less the same data. And if you then analyze the data and you try to figure out what to do next, then there's a high chance that everyone will come up with the same conclusion. And how do you want to stand out in a market where everyone does exactly the same because they have the same data and the same conclusions from that data? So being data-driven is smart, but it's not the solution to survive disruption. So the conclusion here is, if I could wish for only one thought that you take away from this session and chew on that in the evening or in the next couple of days, then it would be this. Or maybe this. I hope that I didn't scare you to death. I also hope that my honesty and openness about the really fucked challenges that we are facing at our company and the examples I gave you will help you to first realize and see market changes faster than we do now, and not even see them, but also adopt your business model so you have the chance of coming out stronger out of a market change or out of a disruption. But as always, when I am giving a talk on a conference, what I hope the most is that you're having fun here on the conference. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That's fantastic. And you're seeing your experience all the way from back in the 90s through to now. It's been, I think, one of the most crazy periods in history tech-wise.
Yes.
To see how much... just listening to that, after you hear it, how many people feel that AI threatens your current job? Okay, that's interesting.
They don't know yet.
Yeah, I do.
Me too.
Yeah, I do. But no, I think that's fascinating. We still have a few minutes left for Q&A, and I think the Q&A, this is a golden opportunity. That's why we've kept Lola to last here. So you've got some time. Who has the first question? Yes, Senan.
So thanks for the presentation. I'm sorry for your loss, the bike, and I hope you bought already a new one. So the question is, how do you know if the AI, it's not another peak like Bitcoin or something like this? Everyone is interested, everyone, okay, we want this, and then after 1 year, okay, no one cares, we go back and we do what we do. Because, yeah.
Okay, so how do I know if it's not only a hype that is going to go away, right? So a hype that is going away most often has a reason why it's going away. And the reason is because it seems interesting at some point, but does not really create value. So to give you an example, you also said crypto. Crypto was invented to disrupt the banking industry. And crypto was and still is very, very fascinating and very interesting. But the one thing that crypto did not achieve until today is being a currency. No one is stupid enough to change their US dollars into crypto and then go buy pizza with that crypto. Because tomorrow it could be $1 million worth, and you would pay $1 million for the pizza. So crypto was not able to change the real problem why it was invented. It had no value. AI, if you listened to Frank's talk, has created value in content creation. You can write blog posts that you don't have to write yourself, and most likely no one will know that AI wrote that. So this is real value that got created. Why in the hell should this go away? Why would you decide tomorrow, oh no, shit, I don't want to spend only 10 minutes writing the blog post, I want to spend 2 days. That's not going to happen because it's real value. AI is creating value, and therefore it's absolutely not going away.
Just as long as you don't start your emails with, I hope this mail finds you well. Yeah. Okay, next question. Yeah.
Lola, thank you for the insights of your company and your strategic ideas.
You want to buy the company?
I'm not so good on hosting, so I have my hosting providers, but not at yours. But thank you. My question is, you have shown us one main strategic change. You go now to the vendors of the shops. Do you think that's enough? Because I think the vendors are very complicated to win, first. And second, you have a closed amount of vendors in the market.
Yes.
And to have the goal at the end, to buy the boat, to buy the car, is this enough? So
first of all, if you listened to my presentation, then you know I'm not going to buy the boat and the car. But to answer your question, obviously the target group of software vendors is way smaller than the number of instances of these softwares, and this is not going to be enough to make the same revenue and the same profit as we do today. And therefore, the second strategy that we are doing is to launch the products or launch features of our service as products that you can buy and use even if you're not a hosting customer. And to explain this a bit more, to give you some more context, the software Smoxy that we launched as a product is not something that we thought the world may need, but is some piece of software that we actually are already using for the past 3 years, but we only use that for our own customers when they had the hosting with us. And now we decided that this is a huge benefit, and we want to open up this benefit to everyone else to be able to buy that without having to be hosting customer at ScaleCommerce. And this, on the other hand, is a much bigger target group than the 4 PHP-based software vendors that we are tied to as of today.
Thank you for this information. Now, to get on with this product, you need for each product, if you have 1, 2, 3 or more, I think you need a own strategy how to get into the market. So you need a marketing, product place, and so on, the piece and whatever you use. And I think you have to invest many resources to get this product and other products into the market.
Yes. So not sure what the question is, if we are investing or...
Yes, the question is, for sure, you are investing, and it's not really a question, it's just a comment to the point you said. And for me, it's very impressive that you do this and that you're changing your core of your own company like this.
Okay,
and
so basically to maybe explain this a bit more, the way how we are running ScaleCommerce is different to how some people run their companies. They are entrepreneurs who will, at the end of the year, sort of empty out the company bank account, and this is like their profit. That's not what we do. We pay good salaries to the people and also to me, and at the end of the year, the profit of the company stays in the company. This has happened for the past years. So we are in the very, very comfortable situation where we have the amount of money that we can invest. This is the first part of your comment. The second part is, what we saw is that the marketing and sales process of acquiring customers for hosting services is totally different than selling a software product. And this is why we brought Christian Hagemeyer into the team with his experience. He is going to take over the business part of not like product development, but of product placement in the market, because that's what he's an expert in. And without changing the team and also not only investing in the development of software, but also investing in the organization and investing in people who already know what to do, this is, I hope, gonna be the key factor of our future success.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. Now I'm more clear. Thank you.
Anyone from this side? Anyone? Okay. In that case, I would ask you to put your hands together for Thomas or Lola. Woo! And